Hey there, friends. You're listening to episode 365 of Better Than Before Breast Cancer. I'm your host, Laura Lummer, and today's our Tuesday Terrain Talk. Today, I am doing all I can to stay in the house because it's so gorgeous outside. I just want to go outside and play. I want to be in the sun. And when these kind of days come, once summer is upon us and the sun is out and it's warm and we go outside and we sweat, but we love it anyway, right? It's sunny, it's warm, people are basking in the sun at the beach, swimming in the ocean. It's so lovely. And I think something that comes up a lot during the summer, will return to great foods like fresh salads and fresh fruit because it's hydrating and it's cool and it's refreshing and it's hot outside. And something that comes to my mind a lot during summertime is detoxification. Because of all of the fresh stuff we're doing and because of all of the sweating that we're doing and just getting the goo out of the body and getting the body moving. When I think about detoxification, I can't help but think about us as people who've had a breast cancer diagnosis and all the things we hear about detoxification. And what does it actually mean? People offer detoxification therapies that can go from drink more water to do daily coffee enemas, right? You can hear a broad spectrum of things that people recommend to support detoxification. We think about the toxic burden, chemicals, synthetics, staying away from fertilizers, eating organic food, getting synthetic fragrances out of your life, out of your house, what you put on your body, all this stuff. There's such this huge range of ideas and options and opportunities when it comes to what we think about as detoxification. There's so many choices that it can often be extremely overwhelming. And people say to me all the time, I can't even think about it. There's just too much. Everything's toxic. It's too much. I don't know if this is a thing everywhere, but it's a thing in California. I think it was a proposition that was passed here a few years back. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Literally everything has these little stickers on it. I don't remember what it was. Prop 65, I think, something like that. Don't quote me. But it's got these little stickers on plastic bags. If you purchase something and it comes in, like a sealed plastic bag or something, that this can cause cancer or this is toxic. I mean, they're everywhere, these stickers, right? So what do you do when you feel that overwhelmed, when you're thinking, what am I supposed to do? For a long time, I'd hear people talk about detox, and it was always a really expensive supplement program or something that went along with what they were selling and saying, this is so important that you get this to detoxify your body. And I would think, well, as long as I have a healthy functioning liver and I'm living a clean life and I'm eating good organic food, why do I need to do that? Like, my liver is an organ designed to detoxify. My body is designed to detoxify itself because when our bodies are doing their daily functions, when our metabolism is working, it's making metabolic waste, and our body has to process metabolic waste and get it out. So I used to think, like, why would I have to do that stuff? As long as I'm healthy and my liver's good, aren't I good? And then I started to learn more. I started to study the metabolic approach to cancer. I started to pay more attention to toxins. And then I learned about nutrition genomics. And then I started to see how a body's systems work and how genetics influence the body's ability to detoxify. And this is just the regular, straight up, whatever's happening in your body as it metabolizes and goes through life every day, as well as toxins that we get exposed to. And I started to get a much better understanding of what detoxification meant. And for me, because I believe in food first, I started to really understand how I could make changes in my lifestyle, in my diet, to support whatever genetics needed a little more support when it came to my body's ability to detoxify itself. So I wanted to share with you today because I know this is a big deal and it's an area we hear a lot of stuff about. So I want to give you some clarity on what is detoxification anyway? How does it work? Is it okay if you feel like you have a relatively clean life, that your body's taking care of it, that you don't have to worry about it? What can you do that's simple? What's low-hanging fruit? What foods can you eat? What herbs might support you? And how, if you don't know what your genetic makeup is, if you don't know your nutrition genome, how could you possibly tell if your body had problems with its ability to detoxify? So let's jump into that. Let's talk about the details and simplify this. Let's get an understanding of the process of detoxification, how you might know if you need some more support in that area, and easy things you can do now to modify your diet and your lifestyle to support yourself. All right. So, first of all, let's talk about what detoxification is. Let's imagine that your body is a big, busy city. And I often think about my body like that because we have these trillions of cells, and each cell is doing all these things. It's making energy, it's taking in nutrients, it's putting out waste. I mean, it is amazing the function of the body. So we've got this big, busy city, and there's all these functions going on. And there's waste that comes from these functions, as I said a minute ago. So, what's going to come and clean up this waste? Just like a big city and people who are living and functioning have garbage, we have garbage trucks that come and collect the trash to keep the streets clean. And our body has a detoxification system to get rid of harmful substances or toxins. And these toxins can come from the food we eat, the air we breathe, the products we put on our skin, and just the way our body is functioning on a day to day basis. So, detoxification happens mainly in the liver, which is like the city's waste management center, right? Our liver has two main jobs in detoxification: phase one and phase two. Think of phase one as kind of sorting out trash into different bins. So, have you ever gone to a waste management kind of field trip? I would go on these field trips with my kids, and they'd take us to the waste management facility. And you would see that as these garbage trucks came in, one of the functions that would happen first is they would separate to make sure, is this electronics? Is this toxic? Is this plastics? And the waste management centers would do a lot of recycling right there. So they'd pull recyclables out of the trash. So let's think about phase one detoxification as your liver using enzymes to separate the trash, to break the toxins down into smaller pieces, little bundles, right? So that the body can understand what to do with what pieces. But once those pieces are broken down, sometimes the pieces themselves can be even more dangerous, like breaking a big piece of glass. So now you've got shards of glass everywhere. And so you break something, the glass shatters, you're going to go get the broom and the dustpan as quickly as possible before someone steps on it with bare feet, and we have a problem. So our body needs to jump in with phase two detoxification very quickly once phase one detoxification has broken these toxins down into smaller pieces. So, phase two detoxification is a process where our liver, the waste management center, adds special molecules to these smaller, potentially more dangerous pieces of these toxins. And that's what makes them water soluble. And when they become water soluble, they can be more easily flushed out of the body through urine, through bile, kind of like how water helps keep washing away soap suds. We clean, we clear stuff out, we take out the hose, we water it down, we clean up, right? So we can flush things out. So what if your body has impaired detoxification, has trouble detoxifying? Well, and what can cause that? So there are SNPs, which are single nucleotide polymorphisms, and all that is a genetic variation on a certain gene. But there are genes that drive this detoxification process. So when you have SNPs on a gene, the detoxification process might not work right. Some people have deletions of certain genes that are really important to driving this detoxification process. And so other genes have to kick in to step up the function of different enzymes to compensate for whatever gene you might have a deletion in. So it is important, our genetic makeup, and a SNP, let's just point out, is a little different than a mutation. A mutation is a permanent damage that's done to a gene, whereas a SNP can be turned on and off, right? A SNP is a gene that's functioning in a way that may support your body even better than its normal natural state, or it may cause more damage to the body or create more problems to the body than it would in its normal natural state. So when we have these SNPs that impact our detoxification, our body can start to struggle to clear out. We can start to build toxins in the body. We can start to build toxins in the liver. We've got these insane diets. We have a major problem in the country and now growing rapidly around the world with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease because of so much obesity and fake food and chemicals and all the stuff that gets stored in the liver. So when that's happening, imagine that waste management center has non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, meaning that your liver is full of fat globules, right? That would be like the waste management center having too many trucks to process. So the trucks are filing in faster than we can unload them, get the toxins out, and they just build up, and the trash is building up and it's not getting processed. That's kind of what could happen in the liver, depending on how much toxins we put into it. So when we think about our liver managing the metabolic waste that happens in us, that's a job in and of itself. Then we think about whatever toxins we might be exposed to, which we're not ever going to live a toxic free life in this world, right? So we can reduce it as much as possible. Are we exposed to lots of pollutants? Are we eating food that has fake colors and fake flavors and fake chemical ingredients and all of that kind of stuff in it that is going to add to that burden of the liver? And then on top of the metabolic detoxification process, the external detoxification or the external toxins we're exposing ourselves to, stacking, then it's got a genetic SNP that undermines its ability to process. Yikes, we've got a problem. What could that result in? If you have a problem with detoxifying and if your system is overloaded with toxins, well, we experience oxidative stress, which basically means at the most fundamental level that cells in your body are overwhelmed with toxins and they cannot take care of them. They can't process them. They can't get rid of them. So the cell gets overwhelmed and then the cell stops functioning as optimally as it would. What could happen is you might feel tired all the time. If you are struggling to get rid of toxins, you might feel really tired even when you get enough sleep. So if you wake up after 8 hours of sleep and you wake up tired, something's not right. That's not supposed to happen. And that's not just because I know I'm 60 years old, right? So I hear myself say, my husband say, my friends say, oh, it's because I'm getting old. No, something's not right. You should have enough energy. If your body is functioning optimally, if you are nourishing it properly, you should have enough energy to wake up and feel good and get through your day. Okay. So think about that. You might feel tired all the time. You might have skin problems. You might have issues like rashes, acne, eczema, because your body's trying to push toxins out through your skin. You might have digestive issues, problems like bloating, constipation, frequent stomach aches. This can happen if your liver is overworked. And this is something, again, that I think we brush off. People get so used to living with physical discomfort, we think it's normal. And I'll hear people say, oh, yeah, I always have gas, or I'm always constipated, or every time I eat that food, I get bloated. Well, that's your body's trying to tell you something. Something's going on. You might have mood swings. Our gut, the toxins in our body, everything affects our brain. Our brain is just another organ in our body. Toxins can affect your brain and make you feel anxious or depressed or just not like yourself. If you wake up and you're just like, I don't know, I just don't feel like me. Is your body saying, I've got a toxic overload? And if you experience any of these things, what can you do? Do you need to go figure out how to give yourself a coffee enema? And coffee enemas have their value. They actually do. There is some studies behind them, which this podcast is not about. So I don't mean to make fun of them like that, but I mean, do you have to think of that kind of an extreme? Because to me, that's kind of a little bit of an extreme practice. I mean, it takes intention, right? You got to put a lot of effort and a little mindset into doing a coffee enema on yourself. But what if you didn't have to go to that extent? What if you could pay attention to your foods and incorporate some foods that support your body in the detoxification process? What if your body gets more effective at detoxifying? And what can you do? You can start with food and herbs. And by herbs, I'm not talking about supplements. I'm talking about real herbs like they come off a plant, rosemary, thyme, oregano, right? We can take these herbs and I'll talk about some of them and we can cook with them and we can put them in our food and we can put them on our salads and they can support our body. So the good news is that there are lots of foods and herbs that help supplement your body's detox systems. So we're just going to talk about some of the most powerful ones. So phytochemicals are natural occurring compounds in plants, and they have various health benefits, including supporting detoxification. So let's talk about some of the key phytochemicals in detoxifying foods and how they support the detoxification process. So the first ones I want to talk about are cruciferous vegetables, and that is broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, kale, bok choy, cruciferous vegetables. These veggies are so good for your liver because they help boost enzymes that are needed for that phase 2 detoxification process. So imagine if you're one of the people that has a SNP in the genes that support phase 2 detoxification, you're going to need a lot more of these foods in your body. So there is a compound called sulforaphane, and sulforaphane activates phase 2 detoxification enzymes. Now, cruciferous vegetables do not have sulforaphane in them. You'll hear people say that. Those are so high in sulforaphane, eat those. They are high in two other compounds that when we eat them become sulforaphane. Our body makes it into sulforaphane. Our bodies are so fantastic, right? There's all kinds of stuff they do to activate, like B12, we get cyanocobalamin, not an active or bioavailable form. Our body changes it into methylcobalamin. Now we can use it. Vitamin D, we have it maybe activating on our skin. Our body changes it to make the active form, which is more bioavailable, so we can use it. Bodies are fascinating, right? So when we eat more cruciferous vegetables, our body can take the compounds in them, turn it into sulforaphane, and sulforaphane is an incredibly powerful antioxidant. In fact, it's so powerful that there's a lot of work going into trying to develop a pharmaceutical drug that will act like sulforaphane. So far, nobody's come up with it, but that's how powerful it is, right? So, broccoli is one of the things you hear about all the time. Have broccoli, cruciferous vegetables. I think broccoli is probably eaten more than cabbage or bok choy or Brussels sprouts. Well, Brussels sprouts are like a big culinary trend. So maybe Brussels sprouts are up there now. But when we think about broccoli, let's think about baby broccoli sprouts. So, broccoli sprouts have 10 to 100 times more of those precursor compounds that help our body create sulforaphane than mature broccoli florets. Now, the sweet spot in sprouts means that they've been harvested within 3 to 5 days, and that seems to be the peak of the phytochemicals that we need. Now, it does not mean that if they're older than 3 to 5 days, they're not going to benefit you. It's just like that's the peak of it. So, if you can incorporate broccoli sprouts and you just get those over where they sell the fresh herbs at your grocery store, the fresh herbs, maybe they have alfalfa sprouts, I see arugula sprouts, bean sprouts, and broccoli sprouts. They look like microgreens, a little larger than microgreens, but they have that same look to them. Get a container of them. They come in little plastic containers like the little clamshells. Open them up, put a handful on your salad, put a handful on your vegetables. Eat a handful if you like the taste of them. And get all those good phytonutrients in so that your body can make more sulforaphane. When broccoli is more mature, the florets still have the important precursors to sulforaphane, just not as much as broccoli sprouts. So if you think you have trouble in the detoxification pathway, eat more broccoli sprouts along with eating your servings of broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables. So when our body is making sulforaphane, it increases the sulforaphane, increases the production of antioxidants like glutathione. And then that supports the protection of our cells from oxidative stress, which I talked about just a minute ago. Sulforaphane has very strong anti inflammatory properties, and then that's beneficial for our overall health, especially for conditions related to inflammation. And we know as breast cancer survivors, we want to keep inflammation as low as possible, want to keep that fire down to a minimum. Another food that's very beneficial in the detoxification process is garlic. And I got to tell you, it's one of my favorites. I love cooking with garlic. I love using garlic. In fact, there's a story I'll share with you. I was thought about it for a sec. I hesitated. I was like, is this a story I want to share? But yeah, it won't be too gross. So I have an amazing esthetician. She traveled out of the country recently and she got a parasite infection during her travels. She was working with her doctor. There was some very concerning symptoms that she had. And the doctor wanted to understand, run some tests to see what the parasite was so they could decide what antibiotic might treat it. But meanwhile, her doctor fortunately said to her, listen, garlic is very strong and has anti-parasitic effects. Go home and steep some garlic. Drink the steeping water, the water you steeped in, and then chew the garlic. And it will kill parasites. And it did the job. She shared the story with me and it did the job, right? Broccoli is super powerful. It contains sulfur. And sulfur helps your liver produce important detoxification enzymes, and it's great for your immune system. Another food that is great for supporting detoxification is citrus fruit. Now, we're in the cancering population, so we want to keep our blood sugar as low as possible. Please don't go out and drink a bunch of glasses of orange juice because that's going to be full of sugar, especially if you buy orange juice somewhere. So we want to, again, think about whole food because whole food is whole. Like it's got all of the fiber and it's got all of the nutrients in it that support each other and work together. So let's think about lemons, limes, oranges, and with a caution, grapefruit. And I say with a caution because grapefruit can interfere with the effectiveness of some cancer medications. I know I'm on one where I cannot have grapefruit. So check with your doctor, know your medications, even if you are just attempting this as a whole food, right? So with citrus fruits, not just the juice or juicing them, but think about zesting them as well. Scraping the zesting the skins. Of course, use organic fruit when you're doing this. That's got the powerful essential oils in them and benefits of fruit. Also, the high vitamin C content and other antioxidants that you're going to find in fruits. So we've got vitamin C, we've got flavonoids. They are these pigments. So when we talk about eating a rainbow, all these different colors of food, those pigments are the outcome of certain compounds in the fruit. And the different colors have different antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. So, we don't want to have too much fruit because we're being mindful of our blood sugar levels. So keeping that in mind, citrus fruits do have a detoxification benefit. And when we're even on a ketogenic diet or trying to stay in ketosis, berries are lower in sugar. So I do have berries and I do have pieces of fruit now and then, but I'm very careful about watching my blood sugar when I do them to understand how they're impacting me. But anyway, the vitamin C will also boost those glutathione levels, and that's really crucial for phase 2 detoxification. All right, herbs that are helpful. Turmeric. I know we hear turmeric all the time, but it really does have some great anti-inflammatory properties and it helps to support the liver. Again, with turmeric, and just like nothing in our body works in a silo, right? There's no vacuum system. It's all integrated, it all works together. So does food. Everything that's in the food works together to start things, to stop things, to make them more bioavailable. Turmeric is more easily used by the body when it's eaten with black pepper. So thinking about when you're cooking with it, putting turmeric in something, always add a little bit, just a little bit of black pepper in it to make it more bioavailable. There are other greens like dandelion greens. Let's think about a couple of greens. Burdock root. I'm talking about the root, not the green. Dandelion greens. Dandelion root also is very anti-inflammatory and helps support liver function, supports digestion, and you can get that in teas as well. In Ayurveda, the bitter taste is very detoxifying. So think about bitter. Let's say dandelion greens, bitter, kale, right? All of these green vegetables, they have kind of a bitterness to them. And that bitterness helps to support liver function and support detoxification in the body. Curcumin is that main active compound in turmeric, and it's super powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. I know a lot of people like to supplement with curcumin, but I think why not just eat the turmeric? I even buy the turmeric roots and cut them up and put them in my bone broth. So I get extraction from that and the steeping of that. So let's always try to think of whole food first, because when you dial in your diet and you really understand what you're eating and how it's affecting you, then you can see, is this working? Right? Did you adjust your diet in such a way that works for you? Do you feel better? Do you have more energy? How is your skin looking? How are you feeling overall? If you're still dragging and you're like, no, for 100% sure, I made these adjustments. My diet is good. I'm taking in all of these really supportive greens and herbs, and I'm doing all the right things, and I still don't feel 100%. Then that's the time to go to a doctor, a naturopathic practitioner, a metabolically trained practitioner, and say, now what? Do I need more support? Now, do I need supplements to come in and support and facilitate this? Because maybe the body still has issues where it's not able to perform at the level that's going to help you feel as good as you want to feel. Okay. So we've got burdock root, we've got dandelion root, we've got dandelion greens. And you can just get dandelion greens at any grocery store. They are a little bitter, so you take them, chop them up. I love to cook my greens, collard greens, dandelion greens, that kind of thing. And I'm not a huge fan of kale, but I know it's got a lot of benefits. So chop it up really small. Great friend of mine gave me this tip. I didn't know about it because I wasn't that interested in kale. But I chop it up really small and then massage it with salt and olive oil. So that really breaks it up so it's not as, I don't know, like cardboardy. There's just something I don't like about it. But that really helps to give it a much better texture and it's much more flavorful and easy to eat. I like to use a citrus infused olive oil. I have a lemon one and an orange one. And I love to put the salt on my greens and just massage those greens with that citrus olive oil. Delicious. Really great addition to a salad, but also to cook them and just cook them up a little bit lightly. We don't want to cook them to death. Cook them lightly and then enjoy. So they're really flavorful that way. But actually, dandelion greens are wonderful for that stimulation of bile. So they help with bile production, and then that helps the liver to detoxify and digest fats as well. I've already given you a couple of ideas of how to incorporate these foods. Let's just touch on a couple more. I don't know that really people think about adding broccoli to salads, but if you're going to have raw broccoli or broccoli sprouts, then definitely throw them into the salad raw. But with raw broccoli, that again can be kind of chewy and stuff. So I make sure again and chop that really fine. You can chop broccoli florets into just little tiny, tiny particles and then add those into your salads. You can add them into other vegetables too, toss them in with other vegetables. So mashed cauliflower is a big deal, and one of my favorite recipes is a garlic chive mashed cauliflower. It's out of one of my favorite keto cookbooks called Squeaky Clean Keto, and I'll post a link to that where you're watching or listening to this podcast. So then you got two benefits, right? You've got your cruciferous vegetables, and then you've also got your garlic in them. So that's both of those are going to help with detoxification. Garlic, use it in everything. Put it in soups, put it in stews, put it in stir fries, put it in salad dressings. Just chop it up and add it. Garlic is so powerful and so good for your body. I think a good way to get citrus fruits and the especially lovely antioxidant properties of their peels is by zesting them and putting that zest into your food, but also by steeping water in them. So getting a pitcher of water, chopping up that citrus fruit, especially with the skins, and letting the water absorb some of that goodness from the citrus. Also, you can take that zest and put it over salads and toss it in salads, gives it a nice bright little flavor punch to it. Turmeric, again, sprinkle it on vegetables, put it into soups. There's also a product called golden milk. So this is kind of an Ayurvedic style drink. You can buy jars with the ingredients for golden milk already put into them, which is going to be like turmeric and black pepper. Just be careful that there's not sugar added to it. Or you can look up recipes for golden milk yourself and make it. And turmeric is a main ingredient in golden milk. Then you can put it into if you're drinking dairy, you can put it into any kind of milk. You can put it into nut milks and get some other health benefits from that. It's for me, I find it to be a really cozy, like nighttime kind of drink. It's got a lot of flavor and it's quite yummy. And you can also add turmeric to salads, just a sprinkle, like a quarter teaspoon, right? Or a half a teaspoon in sauteed vegetable dish. Just add a little bit of turmeric and get some of that good benefits in there for you. Okay, so I hope this has helped you get a little better understanding of detoxification and how to support it with the right foods and herbs. Oh, I left out herbs. So what I mentioned in the beginning, think about things like oregano, rosemary, tarragon, basil. All of these herbs are wonderful additions to almost any dish, especially to soups and salads, to broths and things of that nature. And use those leaves, chop up the leaves. They've got the essential oils are going to be really heavy in the leaves of these herbs, and put them into your food. If you can get used to cooking with fresh herbs, they have so many benefits for you. They are antioxidant, they are anti-inflammatory, they're really powerful and can really support you if you're incorporating them on a regular basis. Nothing wrong with the powdered herbs too, the spices that we use to cook with, but fresh herbs, even better. Okay. So you've got an idea of what detoxification means, a very simplistic explanation of the phases of detoxification and why it's important and how and what you might be experiencing in your body if you're not detoxifying effectively. Now, if you want to take a deeper look and you really want to understand those pathways of detoxification, inflammation, and oxidative stress and how your body handles them, and the genetics you have and how they may be predisposing you to one side or the other as far as how effective you're going to be at this process, you can do your 3x4 or nutrition genome report with me. And this is a report that looks at genes that affect your health, but are highly impacted by your lifestyle, diet, exercise, all of the things involved in your lifestyle. And these reports actually tell you in wonderful detail what foods, what herbs, 3x4 does give supplement recommendations, but what lifestyle practices can help to support you even better. I am a huge fan of that because I see the power of it. I know the power of it. It's powerful for myself and the people, my clients that I do these with. And I will link actually to a video that I recently made that's on my YouTube channel. And I will link to that here in the show notes for this episode. If you're listening to this podcast, you can find those at the breastcancerrecoverycoach.com/365, or just look down below where you're listening to this podcast and you can click on the link. And I made a video that actually goes through a 3x4 genetics report and shows you what a PDF report looks like and how easy it is to understand, but how much valuable information you get from it. And then when I do these reviews with my clients, once I get that report, we dig even deeper into the genes that are affecting them. I'm telling you, it's mind boggling. And, the 3x4 report on its own is $2.99. And when I think about the amount of money I spent on supplements every month before I knew what my body needed, that was way less than the amount of money I was spending on supplements every single month. So I think it's totally worth it from a financial standpoint because it will save you money. I think it's worth it from a peace of mind standpoint because you know what your body needs and you don't have to guess about it anymore, and you don't have to be confused and overwhelmed about all of the nutrition advice out in the world. So if you want to take a deeper dive into that, look into doing this 3x4 for yourself. They do take HSA and FSA cards. So that's a card that you get. You'll know what it is. If you have that benefit through your employer, you know what it is. And they do use those. And I even think that they use Klarna or Afterpay or something when you buy the kit online. And also when you purchase that package through me with the kit and the review, you can make payments on as well. So try to make it easy for everybody's budget because I do think it's so incredibly valuable. I would love to see everyone, literally everyone, regardless of whether or not they've ever had cancer or a cancer diagnosis, have these reports and understand how their body works in these pathways so that you can just be much more confident in how you support your body and your health. Anyway, so that's all the details. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope that some of these tips are helpful in helping you understand how you can get some of these great benefits into your body and not just excuse all the things you feel that you think aren't wonderful on, oh, it's hormones or, oh, it's aging or something like that. Maybe it's detoxification. And maybe you need to dig into your body's ability to detoxify a little bit deeper and see if that helps you feel a lot better. All right, friends, I'll talk to you again soon. Until then, be good to yourself. Take care.